Welcome back to the Camp Memories podcast from Kramer to the Hill. This is part 2 of our conversation with Rudy Valner, camper, counselor, and longtime supporter of Camp Hess Kramer and Gindling Hilltop Camp. In part 2, we talk with Rudy about his performances in musical production. If this is your first episode with us, we have listed part 1 in the cards above and also down in the description. Enjoy!
Rudy, I was just going to ask Rudy if it's not on our list of questions for you, but I wonder if in your years at camp and after you at camp, did you ever meet any other kids or any other families who, like you, came from abroad, came from Mexico or any other country? Of course, you met many Israelis who were also new to American culture, but did you ever have experiences with people from any other countries?
Well, definitely after we were there, even during our years that we were campers, later on, there were some Mexicans that came to camp as well. There were people either because they knew that the Valner boys went to this camp, inquired about it, or, the world gets smaller and even people that were not, call it, friends with our family would come. So the answer is yes. And I'll tell you, I have a funny story. One of my very dear, I loved, when I was a counselor, I loved all my campers. But one of my dearest campers, Mark Pincus, who some of you may remember or not, but Mark was a very dear, and he still is a dear friend of mine. Mark is married to Leah Khan. Leah and my brother Arthur went to school together, and Leah came to camp. And Mark and Leah are now married. They have 3 beautiful girls, and it gives me great satisfaction to know that at least something that I did with my campers had an impact. But not only that, Mark fell for a Mexican girl, and she's a wonderful, wonderful person. But
Oh, that's terrific. That's great. And it allows, when we all became counselors, you get that opportunity to impart that wisdom that you think you have at 19, 20, and 21 years old. And some of it sticks.
But you know what, Paul? I don't know your memory of it, but and to this date, I'll tell you, some of my best friends from camp are still my old counselors. And I still, to this day, if there's a couple of them that when I need advice, I still call on, because their sense of balance, what they did for me when I was young, and the fact that I feel so comfortable around them, I still look at a couple of my old counselors as people that I still go to and seek opinions when I need to make certain decisions, or when I'm in trouble, for that matter.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. One of the other claims to fame that you had as a camper, and I got this from Rich Perlman, was your taste for Tabasco, and how you basically implied that most of the food that we were eating was not quite seasoned well enough.
It wasn't. But leaving that aside, I'll tell you, I think the Tabasco was more of a gag to get more attention sometimes. I mean, by the way, Tabasco is not even a Mexican sauce. Tabasco is a hot sauce from Louisiana.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
but it was my way to show my friends and my counselors that I could, since us Mexicans are known for eating hot foods, that we could withstand it. And it was a competition. Who could eat more Tabasco? And that became more of a situation where, quite bluntly, yeah, I could take the bottle and I could drink, a lot of it. And while it was a little spicy, it didn't kill me, but it did kill everybody else. So it was a lot of fun doing it. Then it added into, when we did the Chief Texaco skits, and we would bring in Chief Texaco with Ross Rothandler, and I'd be Chief Texaco, and Alberto would be Chief Mexico. And we drink the Tabasco to light the fire.
So that's great.
If you ask me, do I
Beautiful.
drink Tabasco to this day? No. I have a lot of other sauces that I prefer. But it was means to an end.
Yeah, absolutely.
To speak a little bit more on your time as a, as a camper, I didn't experience this during my camper years. It's just not really like the focus of camp in the late 90s and 2000s. But, when you were at camp, the camp had a massive theater musical production program. Can you talk about your experiences, with that and how that kind of shaped your camp experience?
Well, the very first year that there was a musical production at Campus Kramer was 1974. There was a fellow by the name of Irwin Hale who brought a play by the name of Schmaltz. That was the very first musical production, and no one really, I remember being there, and no one really understood what it was because there was a lady by the name of Sabelle Bender who was the drama teacher, and that's what you did, drama. And she did a play from Shalom Aleichem or whatever it was, and that was a play for the session. Irwin brought a play that he created, and it was a musical production. So it was the very first time there was a musical production, and think of it as a schmaltz. It was Greece in Jewish.
Oh.
And I decided to try out at the time because it was something different. The tryouts, they asked you to do some sort of recital, something you knew, a poem that you knew in English, to find out what your skill set was. And being from Mexico, I really didn't know per se a good poem. I mean, I could probably recite the Pledge of Allegiance because we did it at camp at the time, or sing the national anthem, but that was it. So I decided to do a poem that was about glory to Mexico in Spanish, and it was very dramatic. And not only was it dramatic, but I accentuated myself on the dramatic to the point that I got the nod for being the lead of the play. And that was the first musical production. And I think it was a sensation. And at the time, I still remember in the play, I have a big problem because I have to choose between two girls. The two girls were two of the prettiest girls in camp that summer. Sandy Hafley from San Diego, Sandy Hafley, and Tammy. Oh, why do I forget Tammy's last name? Well, anyways, it doesn't matter. They were my girlfriends, and the play was a success. Irwin did not come back the year after, but I still remember in '75 getting off the bus, and Neely Cosmo had taken over now the musical production, and she said, "I got the play for you. You're gonna be. I think I got the play. You're gonna have to try out, but I got the play for you." And it's Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat. And I said, Neely, I meant this. I don't want to take the attention. I want others to have the chance to do it as well. I don't want to be the only one that does these things year in, year out. And she said, no, try it. And I don't think, at the time, I don't think Neely was happy with me. You at that time, you showed up and you chose your electives. And by the end of the day, they told you what your elective was. And you chose 3 of them. You chose them in order. My number one choice that year was Avodah. I decided I wanted to do Avodah. I wanted to give somebody else a chance to shine. Whether I deserved it or not, I don't know. I just wanted somebody else to do it. I didn't do it. Somebody else did it. Someone that's also very dear to me, Danny Shader. And Danny did a fantastic job. And then the year after we came back, and I thought that I missed musical production. And so we went back, and at that time was the Cinderella story, where Paul, you were there.
I was there.
And we did that play and call it the stars. I mean, Diana Tash was the lead she was Cinderella. Michael Cantor was the fairy godmother. And I was the rock star. I was Elfin DeJohn. So, but that was my experience, and it was a fabulous experience, and musical production was great. Loved it.
those were wonderful times. I do have a picture of you. I'll send you another picture of I think I'm playing the guitar and you're singing away.
That one I have.
Um,
That one I have.
oh, you do have that one.
You're almost
Okay.
behind me, and I think it's almost
Yep.
like you're playing for me while I'm singing the song.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yes. Me and my acoustic non-electric guitar.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That was
And
back in the
Rudy,
day.
you know that Diana Tash had success and is an opera singer at this point. So that the stars fell on that concert, right?
No,
Everybody
absolutely.
has done well in life.
I wouldn't tell you that it's not that Diana and I talk all the time, but every so often we catch up with each other. We'll call each other once a year, once every couple of years to see how each one of us is doing.
And that's the beauty of camp. It's the people that you have stayed in touch with over the years, the counselors, your campers in your community. And as we, all had children of our own to send to camp, and I was there when you were there, but we didn't know each other. And you have this wonderful camaraderie with people, even through your kids these days.
It's a fabulous presentation card. And I got to tell you, me being in the business world, if I'm doing a deal with someone that I know went to camp, it's like you give me your word. That's all that matters to me. I don't need a document.
Thank you for joining us for part 2 of our conversation with Rudy Valner. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on part 3, coming in 2 weeks. And tune into part 1 if you haven't already. Don't forget to mark your calendars for camp's upcoming events in Carlsbad this summer, including Mitzvah Night on June 27th, Shabbat 75 on Friday, July 24th, and Leadership Night on Saturday, July 25th. If you haven't heard from camp in a while, you can update your contact info by visiting wbtcamps.org/alumni/update your info, which is linked down to the description, and that's how you'll be able to hear when registration opens for all the events. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode.